New boss drove everyone to quit and replaced us with her cronies. A few years ago, I was desperate for a job. I'd just been discharged from the US Army for medical reasons, and I was struggling. I'd met my now wife, who moved in with me and her 2 young kids from a previous marriage. I bounced between dead-end jobs with no real skills or experience to offer, so my options were slim. On a whim, I applied to a small security company, and they hired me on the spot. They loved my military background, grilled me with questions only a veteran would know, and offered me their biggest contract. I landed on a massive construction site for a major oil company building its new headquarters. Calling it a big project doesn't do it justice. As security, we checked and screened every worker and contractor at the gates, inspected vehicles for theft, and kept things in order. My gate alone saw 1,000 to 2,000 vehicles per 8-hour shift. The site ran 24/7 to meet tight deadlines, with 3 gates total, meaning 3,000 to 6,000 vehicles daily. Quick note, every vehicle needed a strict inspection for a special sticker after initial clearance. We scanned passes through a terminal, and if everything checked out, sticker and pass, we let them in. The job was awesome. The security team was all ex-military, so we clicked, trading light jabs about our service branches. No sick days or vacations, but if someone needed time off, we covered their shifts happily, racking up overtime. Our boss, Jim, was cool about it, no write-ups, no drama. Sometimes we pulled 16-hour shifts. I spent nights sleeping in the underground parking garage between shifts because driving home for a quick nap wasn't worth it. We worked outdoors in any weather, rain, brutal heat, bugs, even hail, standing all day with only a hard hat for protection. Sitting was a luxury. You couldn't leave your post unless a supervisor relieved you for a quick bathroom or snack break. Sounds rough, but it was the best job I ever had. Unsurprisingly, 95% of the team were men. We tried hiring women, but most quit after a few days. The few who stayed loved it. Trouble started 3 months in when a night shift supervisor quit to go back to school, opening a vacancy. Everyone could apply, and the outgoing supervisor suggested I try, even though I was the newest guy with the least experience. I threw my hat in for fun. 2 others applied, a guy with tons of experience and a woman, one of 3 on site, who'd been there a year. We each had an interview with Jim. Mine went great. Jim liked my ambition and remembered hiring me. Next, we each got a trial shift as supervisor, with Jim and another supervisor, Ray, observing. My trial went smoothly. I even handled a minor issue solo. The guy kept forgetting tasks and running to Jim for guidance. The woman did okay but acted entitled, demanding we call her ma'am and bragging she'd get the promotion. Guess who got it? Me. She was pissed. She was so mad she dug my number out of the supervisor database and called me. I didn't even know I'd been promoted yet, no official word. Here's how it went. Her, how's it feel? Me, who's this? Her, don't play dumb. I thought supervisors knew everything. Me, you've got the wrong number. Her, I know exactly who I'm calling. You got my promotion because you're all sexist pigs. If you don't step down, I'll report this to HR for sexism, and you'll all be fired. Me, sexism? I earned it by passing the trials. Isn't it sexist to think you deserve it just because you're a woman? Her, only men get leadership roles here. 95% of the staff are men, so of course they pick you. It's a boys' club. Me, statistically, yeah, a guy's more likely to get it. Sorry you didn't make it, but that's not my problem. I hung up and called Jim and Ray. They confirmed my promotion, had no clue how she got my number, and said they'd report her to HR for stealing it and threatening me. That should have been the end, but oh no, folks, this was just the beginning. 2 months later, I was settling into my supervisor role. The woman got fired from the site, and everyone was thrilled I was in charge instead. I got close with the team, especially a guard named Victor. He was a Marine veteran from the first Iraq invasion, dealing with severe PTSD. He was hot-headed, argued with everyone, and was a total jerk to most, but I liked him. We became tight. I'd check on him during my rounds, and we'd talk. I convinced him to seek therapy through the VA and continue his education. Ray helped push him to stick with school. Victor would yell, vent, then we'd hug it out and keep working. It was his therapy, and I was cool with it. Everything was fine until I showed up at Victor's post one night. He'd pulled a 16-hour shift and was beat. He asked if I'd spoken to Jim lately. I hadn't. Jim hadn't shown up that day. A few days later, he vanished. Ray called an emergency supervisor meeting with me and the second shift supervisor. We pieced together what we knew and called the main office. After getting bounced around, Ray's HR buddy spilled, Jim quit. That woman from earlier? She wasn't bluffing. After getting fired, she lawyered up and sued the company for sexism, favoritism, and sexual harassment. Turns out, Jim, a single guy, had flirted with her, then sexted her using his work phone. She had the receipts, texts, photos, the works. She played it smart, flirting in person but acting shy in texts, making it look like Jim pressured her and promised a promotion before the vacancy was even announced. It looked like a setup. When the company checked Jim's phone, it confirmed her story. Jim quit to avoid the fallout. The company, dodging a lawsuit, rehired her, gave her back her job, paid her for lost wages, threw in a bonus, and promoted her. They also promised to hire more women and promote them to leadership to appease her lawyer. With no boss, we 3 supervisors ran the site, hoping one of us would get promoted or they'd hire a new manager. 2 months later, she was a nightmare. She'd cancel shifts last minute, and since no one liked her, no one covered. We tried writing her up for no-shows, but she flipped it, threatening another sexism lawsuit, claiming men skipped shifts without punishment. She went too far when she disrespected an oil company rep during a visit. He demanded she be removed permanently, threatening to fire our company if they didn't comply. They transferred her to another site, but the chaos she started only grew. The company replaced Jim with a woman named Tasha to meet the lawsuit's demands. Tasha was a disaster from day one. She didn't introduce herself to supervisors for 2 weeks and took a month to meet the guards. The site was busy, but not that busy. She had no military background and didn't respect that we were all veterans, many from combat zones. She saw us as dumb muscle needing constant babysitting. Her micromanaging was unreal. She could barely handle basic tasks, made idiotic decisions, and annoyed everyone just by existing. We supervisors tried training her, but she ignored us. A week after she met the team, write-ups started piling up, dozens per person for petty nonsense. Loose thread on your uniform? Write up. Dirty boots? Write up. Haircut she didn't like? Write up. Foggy glasses? Write up. The kicker, she wrote up a guard for a wet uniform because it was raining, and we couldn't leave our posts. Each gate had a tiny guard booth with a chair, desk, AC, and mini fridge, but they were too far from the gates to use. You couldn't hear the pass scanners beep or see the light from there, and with 10-meter sticker checks, you had to stay at the terminal. We explained this to Tasha, but she didn't care. She targeted one guard at a time, hammering them with write-ups until they quit, then moved to the next. The site went from dream job to toxic hell. I served 10 years in the army, 3 tours in Afghanistan, under some of the dumbest brass imaginable. Veterans get it. Tasha made them look like geniuses. In 2 months, 12 people quit, including Ray. Let me say, Ray was the best boss I ever had. Technically below me, he was the most professional guy I knew, respected by all. He mentored me, inspired everyone, and even helped Victor. When Tasha drove him out, it was a gut punch. Never mess with a Marine, especially one like Victor with nothing to lose. You'd think mass resignations would cause a staffing crisis, but nope. Every time someone quit, a new hire showed up the next day. Me and the second shift supervisor noticed these newbies weren't veterans. They were lazy, rude to guards and workers, and skipped vehicle checks, hiding in booths. We called Ray, who asked his HR buddy what was up. The truth was worse than we thought. When Jim quit, the company scapegoated the HR guy who hired veterans, firing him to dodge the sexism scandal. He'd vetted us with those military-specific questions. With him gone, no more veterans were hired. Tasha? She'd previously managed security for an office building but lost the contract, not because it expired, but because she and her team were so incompetent the client hired someone else. Her team got scattered to low-paying sites, but our contract paid well $15/hours starting, high for security, because it required veterans per the oil company's rules. Turns out, Tasha's lover was the guy who replaced the fired HR veteran hirer. He got her our site, a raise, and a promotion because she was a woman and his fling. Talk about irony, she weaponized sexism claims while benefiting from it. Her write-ups and bullying were a plan to push out veterans so the company could hire non-veterans, citing a contract loophole allowing it during staffing shortages. Who filled the spots? Tasha's old team, the same losers who tanked her last contract. She personally requested them. I watched my veteran brothers get targeted and quit, replaced by lazy jerks. I was next. I quit, but the real hero was Victor. After I left, I joined another security firm where Jim and Ray worked. We were back together, same vibe, better pay, at another oil and gas site. We tried getting Victor to join, but he was on a mission. Remember those vehicle stickers? Victor had a knack for spotting fakes from across the gate. Fake stickers were a huge issue. The site had limited parking, and only stickered vehicles could enter after rigorous checks. Contractors often hired undocumented workers or used unregistered vehicles, but without a sticker, no entry. Someone started selling fake stickers, first crude, then high-quality vinyl ones nearly identical to the real deal. Normally, a fake sticker meant stopping the vehicle, calling a supervisor, proctor, the worker's boss, and a cop to remove the sticker and ban the driver. Tasha's new hires ignored this, letting fakes slide, and the black market thrived. Victor took a stand. He manned the main gate, catching fakes left and right, sometimes multiple per day. He forced Tasha to stay nearby, brought in an extra cop, and got a proctor assigned to the gate. He even trained some of the useless newbies to spot fakes. Tasha couldn't touch him, he followed every rule. Within a month, Victor's crackdown tanked the project. He stopped so many contractors that companies pulled their long-term contracts. The site halted. The oil company had sold its old building, expecting to move into the new one, but Tasha's hires also let thieves steal equipment worth tens of thousands, causing delays. With no new HQ, the company rented their old building back at a jacked-up rate, hemorrhaging money as their stock tanked. At a meeting with oil company reps, Victor asked, "So, you're changing the rules to let unvetted drivers in?" They couldn't. Victor knew it. He kept going. Days later, an incident pinned on him got him fired. It was BS, he was scapegoated. But Victor didn't care, he'd won his war. Justice came for Tasha. The chaos she caused got her fired. Years later, she couldn't find work. Jim, now at another firm, rejected her application. She interviewed at my company, guess who handled hiring? Me. She walked in, saw me, and left without a word. Weeks later, she tried Ray's company. He told me she broke down, admitting she'd lost her home, her husband left with their kids after learning about her affair, and she was living in her car. She begged for a job. Ray, the ultimate Marine, said, "Go to hell, and tell Satan I said hi." Pro tip, don't mess with a Marine. Victor? He's thriving. He finished his degree with honors, got 90% VA disability for PTSD, and lives off a solid pension. He's a maintenance manager at a college and looking at a second home. We're still close. Jim's married and doing well. Ray's a contract manager, raising his son and adopted nephews. We meet yearly for drinks with Victor. I'm a senior supervisor now, working in HVAC. My wife and I are solid. What do you think of this wild ride? Tasha got what she deserved, but Victor's the real MVP. Drop your thoughts in the comments, check out our last video, link here, subscribe for more crazy stories, and thanks for watching. A few notes. Thanks for the insane response, I never expected this story to blow up. I read all your comments. Some of you called the story one-sided or sexist. Fair point. The woman who sued should have had a name. I didn't give her one because she didn't matter to me, but I get how that looks. I accept the critique. The boys club vibe wasn't intentional, there were awesome women on site, like a Chicago ex-cop who helped us build a harassment case. I skipped that for brevity, this was already long. Jim wasn't a victim. His actions were dumb and abusive. I don't talk to him anymore for a reason. But the woman used their fling for leverage, so she's no saint either. She didn't sue in the end, she took the company's deal. My take, for what it's worth. If this offended anyone, I'm sorry. I can't rewrite reality to be PC. When your world's falling apart, morality gets blurry, not an excuse, just life. Thanks for the support.